Hello again, friends. I'm going to share with you a story of remarkable perseverance and determination and growth mindset. And you're going to think, well, I don't know what in the world that story would have to do with these. So while we're all stuck inside and not doing a lot of out to eat or a lot of grocery shopping or grilling out at the picnic areas, I'll bet some of you have been enjoying ramen noodles. I know they're a big favorite of my son's. So I'm going to let you figure out how this story, Magic Ramen, has anything to do with perseverance and grit and growth mindset and determination. It is the true story of Momofuku Ando. It was written by Andrea Wang and illustrated by Kana Urbanowitz. Magic Ramen. Magic Ramen, the story of Momofuku Ando. Momofuku picked his way through the rubble on his way home from work. Even though World War II had ended over a year ago, much of Osaka, Japan still lay in ruins. Across the street, a long line of people wound down the sidewalk. It was winter, and they shivered in their ragged clothes. What are they waiting for? Ando wondered. At the head of the line, billows of steam rose from a shack. Inside, a man was selling ramen noodle soup. Bad harvests, rationing, and war had made food scarce. And you probably remember the word scarce means there's not enough of it to go around. Now, you heard a word in that sentence, rationing. That means they kind of divvy up and make you share and kind of limit the amounts to something that you're allowed to have. So all of those things had made food scarce. The poor ate grass and bark to survive. Is anyone having a text-to-text connection? Boy, I am. I'm thinking about that story in Korea, Rice from Heaven. Do you remember how those people were really struggling with food? Sure. Orphans scrounged through garbage for something to eat. Those lucky enough to have some money waited for hours and hours and paid outrageous prices for a meager bowl of ramen. Ando went home, but he couldn't forget the hungry people. The world is peaceful only when everyone has enough to eat, he realized. Ando decided that food would be his life's work. He started a business making salt. He caught and dried fish. He created nutritious food for people who were sick. With every new product, every new job, and every new business, Ando thought about that line of starving people. He thought about them for over 10 years. Then, one of Ando's business deals ended badly. He was penniless. Once again, Ando remembered the thin and hungry people. Oh, I don't know about you, but I see a look of determination in Ando's eyes. Do you see it? Wouldn't it be wonderful, he thought, if whole families could have noodles whenever they wanted? No more waiting in the line in the cold. No more high prices. No more empty stomachs. He dreamed about a new kind of ramen. His ramen wouldn't be like other noodles. It would be more nutritious. In a shed in his backyard, Ando mixed flour, salt, and water together. He added eggs. He added powdered milk, He even added spinach. Nothing worked. The noodles were too crumbly, or too sticky, or too lumpy. Ando kept experimenting with different ingredients. One day, he cranked the handle of his noodle-making machine and tested the noodles that came out. They didn't crumble, stick, or lump. It was the just right mix of ingredients. Ando realized the key to the preparation of food is balance. But what was ramen without soup? Ando remembered the cold and hungry people. Chicken soup warmed up the cold bodies, but took hours to make. His ramen would be tasty and easy to cook. The simple addition of hot water would release flavor from the noodles and turn it in to hot chicken soup. Boy, he's thinking hard about it, isn't he? Ando kept experimenting. He used chicken soup to make the dough. He brushed seasoning onto the noodles. He dipped the noodles in soup. Once again, nothing worked. The noodles were too brittle. That means they're dry and they break easily. Or too soft. Or too soggy. Ando kept experimenting with different methods. Boy, he doesn't give up, does he? He just knows if he hangs on and uses that life skill of perseverance, he just may get it right. One day, he sprinkled noodles with soup from a watering can, then tossed them and separated them. The noodles soaked up the soup and dried. It was just the right procedure. He added hot water to the dried noodles and stirred. The water now tasted like soup. But the noodles were still too tough. They still had to be cooked on a stove. Ando remembered the tired and hungry people. He wanted his ramen to be fast and convenient. It could be made with hot water and in a few minutes. People should be able to figure out how to make it. Anywhere, anytime. Day after day, Ando experimented. Night after night, he failed. Month after month, he kept trying. Nothing worked. Boy, Ando's sure made a lot of mistakes, hasn't he? But he's learning from them because it's just like I always say, those mistakes are how we learn. One night, Ando watched his wife, Masako, fry tempura. She coated vegetables and seafood in batter and dropped them into hot oil. The water in the batter evaporated and left tiny holes in the now crunchy coating. He stared. The batter was made from flour and water, just like his noodles. Yada! He cried. That's it! He raced to his shed and threw some noodles into a pot of hot oil. They sizzled and popped and crisped. Ando scooped the fried noodles out of the oil and into a bowl. He added hot water and waited. The water seeped into the tiny holes and softened the noodles. Two minutes later, he plunged a pair of chopsticks into the bowl. He stirred and he slurped. The noodles were tender and chewy. They floated in a bowl of hot and tasty soup. After a year of trying, Ando had finally done it. He had invented instant ramen. Just take a look at this page and compare it to one of the pages at the beginning. Think, what are some changes you notice simply in the illustrations? What kind of mood do you think the illustrator meant to get across with this illustration? Ando worked hard to make enough instant ramen to sell. The whole family pitched in. Masako, Suma, Koki, and even little Akimi. Ando gave demonstrations. He poured hot water. He waited 2 minutes. Maho no ramen! The astonished customers exclaimed. Magic ramen. Soon, everyone was eating Ando's ramen. Poor people, children, busy workers, even royalty. Ando's ramen was nutritious, tasty, and convenient. Thin, cold, tired, and hungry people ate it and felt better. Ando smiled. Peace follows from a full stomach, he said. Ever since, Momofuku Ando and his backyard invention have fostered peace, one bowl of noodles at a time. And that, my friends, is the true story of Magic Ramen. So I want you to think, we know that usually author's purpose is to persuade, to inform, or to entertain. Now think about that. I like to remember that as P-I-E, pie. Did the author write to persuade, to talk us into something or out of something? Did the author, when I think about that I, inform, did the author write this book to teach us or to tell us about something? Or did the author write simply to entertain? Did we laugh or cry or perhaps have to figure out a mystery? What do you think the author's purpose was in writing Magic Ramen? Until next time, I hope you enjoyed this book as much as I enjoyed reading it to you.